Well, hi there, everybody. This is Justin Dyke, owner of GameArtPartners.com and also CartoonSmart.com. And what I want to talk to you about today is setting up artwork that is very, very friendly for developers. So if you are an artist that's considering submitting some artwork to sell through the site, or even if you're just somebody that's considering buying artwork, you can sort of have some expectations going in about consistent sizes in terms of the animations included in these in the packages that we have. And to best describe this, let's go ahead and take a look at one of the pieces that I drew and animated in Flash. And this is what I consider to be an ideal setup for game developers, and a lot of this has to do with a consistent sizing between all of the animation sequences. So I'm just going to publish this, just create an SWF file so you can see all of the animations inside of each one of these movie clips. And I'll just let it run through real fast. Okay, so now notice that in a frame or a sequence where he's climbing, for example, we could crop this image right about here. Okay, the character doesn't extend anywhere past about this square there. But for game development, and this is not true with all gaming engines, but it makes life a lot easier on us developers, programmers, kit modifiers if the animation sequences have a consistent size throughout. So it's even okay if you waste a little bit of space and just save yourself the headache of trying to resize things on the fly. Okay, so ideally this entire series of sequences for this character all stay at about 330 by 250. Okay, and one of the things that you can do to kind of lock in that frame size, I'm going to show you right here. We're going to double click inside of here so you can see all the animations for this is just an idle pose. Okay, and again, this is another one that could probably get away getting cropped more like this, but to make it so that all of them have the same size, what we're going to do is what I'll do is I'll come down and create a layer down at the bottom. Doesn't matter if it's actually at the bottom or not, but you won't really see anything if I were to make everything invisible but this layer. You're still not going to see anything. It's actually just 1 pixel here and 1 pixel up here, but when you go ahead and make that into a movie clip, so if I were to break this apart and select it and hit F8, okay, so like let's call this consistent frame, right, for sizing. Then you can see that little blue bounding box around it. Maybe if I zoom in a bit, you can see a little bit better. I'm having trouble zooming, but it's essentially invisible. It does need to have a little bit of transparency. So if I were to click on this and show you guys, or if I were to sample it with the color dropper, you would see that it's got 1% alpha on it. I've never once noticed a little pixel with 1% alpha floating out there. But in terms of exporting out a PNG sequence, just having that 1 pixel there and 1 pixel there makes sure that that Flash goes and goes, oh, okay, well, I need to export this out at this entire size right here, okay? And I've included that for every single one of these movie clips throughout here. So if you double click on every single one of them, you see the same thing. Maintains consistent PNG frame, right? And in terms of exporting these out, what I don't do is I don't go over here to export movie, because what that's going to do is you do have the option of exporting out a PNG sequence, but it's going to go and export out the entire timeline here. And as you can see, if you were to double click inside this movie clip, I need to hit it. Oh no, there we go. That this particular movie clip only needs 8 frames. Okay, it just loops back to the beginning after that. So it's just him idling, right? But if I were to export out a movie in the entire timeline, well, I would end up, these frames past about 8 I don't need. All right, now I could go over here and do this, but the neat thing that Flash has now is this option to go and right click, and it's getting cut off on the screen capture, but about 4 commands below the swap symbol there's one called export PNG sequence. And if we do that, what it does is it actually takes the symbol name, all right, so, it's just a little convenience there. If you have a consistent naming of your symbols, like bro3_idle, it automatically fills that in, and then it has file format set to PNG sequence. And then from there, you can export out your just the frames that are included inside of that movie clip. So regardless of how many I have stretched out here on the timeline, it's only going to export out the frames that are inside of this particular symbol. Okay, so that's also nice. And then once you do that, you're depending on the size that you think the character should be in the game, you'll want to export out either 72 DPI, 144 DPI. This stage right here is 330 by 250, so that gives you an idea of how big the character is. In a game, that's going to be really big, at least, like, say, if you're publishing this to an iPad or something like that. What you probably want is a size more something like this, or actually 50% of that. Okay, and just looking at the screen capture size right now, you can probably imagine that, suppose this area right here is that size of an iPad. If your character is that big, that makes about, that makes sense. Okay, so that's half of what we had it at before. Oops, keep typing in the wrong numbers here. 100%. Okay, so I made a little note in here, and I just said that for your 2x or your Retina size images, you probably just want to export this at 72 DPI. Okay, so if we're going to export this at 72 DPI, that means that the size is going to be about 330 by 250. Okay, and then what you can do is you can go and rename all of those images, and there's a great little application called Name Changer. So what you do here, let me go ahead and dump in an image. Let's see if I have a PNG to really quickly use for this. Okay, here we go. Okay, so it's what Flash will do is it'll give you an image sequence. Imagine there's like 20 files in here. All you have to do is find the original text and then replace it in new text at 2x.png. All right, so, and it gives you a little preview down here of what that name would look like. So that's a really, really quick way, and this is a free program, this Name Changer, of just going through and batch renaming things. And actually what's kind of cool too is, say that you decided, oh, I don't want that underscore in there. You can just type in underscore right here, and then put nothing over here, and notice that the preview is showing you that the underscore is being taken out. Or if you had if you were like, oh no, I call this canon, this should have been gun or something like that. So anyway, so a quick way to rename those, and then basically what I end up doing is I'll export out everything twice. So I'll go over here and I'll right click on this, go to export PNG sequence, do an entire batch at 72 DPI, and then I'll go through and I'll do the lower resolution batch at 36 DPI. And of course the 36 DPI ones you do not need to go and rename at 2x, okay, because those are just your standard definition size images. And so yeah, that's if you were to buy one of the products that I made on GameArtPartners.com, you can expect to have all the PNG sequences exported out at 1x, 2x. I'm even starting to do some of them at 3x now, which I think is a little bit overkill. But the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus do take in optionally the 3x images. And in a sense, I'm also kind of curating some of the artwork that gets brought to me through the site. So I'll go and make sure that that you've got consistent sizing for the animated exported images. And not all of them are going to be included in Flash, but I am trying to do that. So if you are an artist out there that would like to submit some of the artwork, consider setting up a similar situation like this. Even if you drew your artwork in Illustrator, it's really easy to go and kind of bring in some of your higher resolution exports for the images and set them up in a similar fashion. So for example, what you could do is, and I know everybody that's got Illustrator probably has Flash now as well if they bought the suite, is go and create a new symbol. So you can just go over here to new symbol, and then you can go over here to import stage, and you could take in, just assume these are your higher resolution images right here. All right, so if you exported out a whole batch of them, you just have to grab the first one, okay, as long as you've named them sequentially. Here, let's pick on something I'd rather more look at. Here we go. And it'll say the file appears to be part of a sequence of images. All right, so import that in. And what it'll do is it'll just put them all one right after the other like that. Okay, so now you've got a symbol. Unfortunately, that one's named Untitled 25. Let's go ahead and open up the library. And here we go. We'll rename that. All right, so collect. Call it something like Bro 3 collecting. And then you can drag this out to the stage here. And since you brought in images that already have that, if you brought in images that already have that extra space around them, I'm pretty sure if you were to export a PNG sequence out now, let me just let's see. Yeah, I believe it's putting in that extra size already because I brought in a standard size here, so it's a little bit smaller than what I had before. Right, 330 by 250. Yeah, so that seems to be working out fine. So that's that's something that you can do. Just create a flash file and make sure that all of your images, animations are consistently sized up, and that also makes it easy too for artists to come in here and assuming again this is your higher resolution image, then they can go and they can export out sequences of their own kind of size. So. A developer might come over here and go, oh well, okay, yeah, I do want to export out a new PNG sequence, but I need mine to be exactly 200 wide. Okay, right? So then they can go and just set that width there, and then do another batch where they set it at 100 for the standard size. So hopefully I haven't confused anybody too much, but I know exporting things out at standard and Retina and now Super Retina is it's kind of mind-boggling a little bit, but when you get used to it, it's not that hard to figure out. Everything's just either double the size of the lower one, and so anyway, hope you've enjoyed me rattle on about export sizing.